"Yes," they answered, "in swearing allegiance to him, we are pledging ourselves to wage war against all mankind."
And with that the final nail was driven into the coffin of the religion of Islam. They had declared war.
Ishak, if you are loyal to this undertaking, it will profit you in this world and the next. They said, "We will accept you as prophet under these conditions, but we want to know specifically what we will gain in return for our loyalty." Muhammad answered, "I promise you paradise."
The advance of political Islam was dependent upon this simple concept. Serve me now, and I promise to reward you later, much later. Tabari reports it this way.
"What shall we gain for our faithfulness?" He answered, "Paradise. So reach out your hand." They stretched out their arms and swore in an allegiance to him.
Heil Mohammed! The Nazis saluted Hitler the same way, and the result was the same as well.
Ishak and Tabari. When we had all sworn the oath of allegiance to the messenger, Satan shouted from the top of Aqaba in the most piercing and penetrating voice I have ever heard, "People of the
pagan ritual,
stations,
of the idolatrous Hajj,
of Mina, do you want to follow a blameworthy reprobate?" The messenger said, "What does the enemy of God say? I am the devil, and I shall deal with you."
It is little wonder he screamed from the mountain-top. The devil had won a great victory. Chairman Mohammed quickly got down to the business of politics.
"Appoint 12 Naqub representatives from among you for me, who will see to the people's affairs." They appointed 12 representatives, 9 from the Khazraj and 3 from the Aus.
As with all political dictators, the Naqub representatives were camouflage, little more than window dressing. There is no record of them ever meeting.
Ishak. The following morning, Quraysh leaders came to our encampment saying that they had heard that we had invited Muhammad to leave them, and that we had pledged ourselves to support him in war against them. Thereupon, members of our tribe swore that nothing of the kind had happened, and that we knew nothing of it.
Lying was the first thing these Muslims did after pledging to war against all mankind. There is an important lesson here, one our politicians and media are missing.
Tabari. When the Quraysh came to recognize what had really happened, they urged one another to torment the Muslims and treat them harshly.
After all, Mohammed had just upped the ante, moving from a war of words to a clash of swords.
The Muslims suffered great hardship.
And that's because,
in Tabari, those present at the oath of Aqaba had sworn an allegiance to Muhammad. It was a pledge of war against all men. Allah had permitted fighting.
Jihad was born. The pendulum had swung. The peace-loving religion born in Mecca was abrogated.
Tabari. After Allah had given his messenger permission to fight by revealing the verse, "And fight them until persecution is no more and religion is all for Allah,"
this became Quran 8:39.
The messenger of Allah commanded,
not persuaded or even asked,
those at Mecca to emigrate to Yathrib and join their brethren, the Ansar.
And wouldn't you know it, Muhammad couldn't even get that right. The 8th surah, aptly named the Spoils of War, was revealed after the Battle of Badr, several years later. His God was doing his level best to accommodate his prophet's ambitions. His timing was off. Well, that's all.
Ishak. When Allah gave permission to his apostle to fight, the second Aqaba contained conditions involving war which were not in the first act of submission. Now we bound ourselves to war against all mankind for Allah and his apostle. He promised us a reward in paradise for faithful service. We pledged ourselves to war in complete obedience to Muhammad, no matter how evil the circumstances.
And they were evil indeed. Ishak lists the signatories of the Declaration of Submission.
Uhud commanded the apostles' archers. He was killed in the Battle of Yemen
during the War of Compulsion
as a martyr. Abu was present at all the apostles' battles and died in Byzantine territory as a martyr. Muad was present at every raid. He was killed at Badr as a martyr. Mawid, his brother, shared in the same glory. Umara was at every battle and died a martyr in Yemen. Asad died before Badr, when the Prophet's mosque was being built. The apostle put Ammar in command of the rear guard. He died at Uhud as a martyr. Abdallah led many raids and was slain as a martyr at Mu'tah. He was one of Muhammad's commanders. Khalid fought at Badr, Uhud, and Khandaq. He was martyred fighting the
Jewish
Qurayza. The apostle said that he would have the reward of 2 martyrs.
The list goes on, but you get the picture. Islam kills. Christ's apostle died as martyrs trying to save men. They used words, not swords. Their sacrifice was a living testament to their faith. Muhammad's companions died wielding swords, sacrificing the lives of others to satiate their own cravings. Christ and Muhammad, Christianity and Islam, the Bible and the Quran, Yahweh and Allah, are opposites.
Ishaq. The apostle had not been allowed to fight or shed blood before the second Aqaba. He had simply been ordered to call men to Allah, to endure insult and forgive the ignorant.
Camel dung, every word of it. The apostle didn't have the ability to fight prior to the Pledge of Allegiance. The instant he wielded influence over men of war, he went to war against those who had insulted him. "I shall bring you slaughter," was how this reprobate defined forgiveness.
Ishaq. The Quraysh persecuted his followers, seducing some from their religion and exiling others. They became insolent towards Muhammad's God and rejected his gracious purpose. They accused his prophet of lying, so he gave permission to his apostle to fight those who had wronged him. He said in his Quran, "Fight them so that there will be no more seduction."
In other words, no more exposing Islam's faults.
Until no Muslim is seduced from Islam, fight them until the only religion is Islam and Allah alone is worshipped.
This became Quran 22:40 and 2:198. That's reasonably clear. Worship Allah or Muslims will kill you. As a result, every Meccan Muslim save Bakr and Ali scurried off to Yathrib.
Tabari. The Quraysh were now anxious about Muhammad going there, as they knew he had decided to join them in order to make war on them.
The Meccans read him like an open book, just as we are doing. Unfortunately for the billions of souls that have been lost to this ruse, they acted as we do today in the face of Islamic aggression and terror.
Tabari and Ishaq. They deliberated as to what to do about Muhammad, as they had come to fear him.
One said,
"Keep him in fetters, lock him up, and wait for the same kind of death to overtake him which overtook other poets of this sort."
A handsome sheikh, Muslims say, was really the devil, protested.
"If you imprison him, his followers will attack and snatch him away. Then their numbers will grow so large they will destroy the authority of the Quraysh."
Sorry, sheikh, but that's ridiculous. In 12 years of preaching, Muhammad had seduced fewer than 100 souls, and most of them abandoned Islam in the aftermath of the Quraysh bargain, satanic verses, and night's journey. He was his own worst enemy. Another suggested,
"Let us expel him from among us and banish him from the land. The harm which he has been doing will disappear, and we shall be rid of him. We shall be able to put our affairs back in order and restore our social harmony."
This sounds eerily like yesterday's newspaper. The Meccans were as wrongly fixated on a singular person as we are today. Islamic terror survived Muhammad's death because the religion manufactured more Muhammads, Bakrs, Alis, Umar, Uthmans, Osama bin Ladens, and Saddam Husseins. By failing to understand the motivations behind Islam, and by focusing on a symptom rather than the disease, the Meccans lost their children, their property, their social, their economic system, and their freedoms, as shall we. The Quraysh were waylaid by Islam's religious trappings. If they had existed back then, I'm sure the most enlightened Meccans would have paraded the peace-loving Muslims out on CNN, ABC, and CBS to reveal the true character of the doctrine that had just declared war. "Give peace a chance," they would have protested, as the murderous marauders grew ever stronger, corrupting more souls. As a direct result of their ignorance, The balance